Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining next episode of the Emergence. Farah, your host, and we talk about the latest and greatest in emerging tech and immersive experiences. Today, we have a special guest who I had the pleasure to know about at Meta or before Facebook announcement. And she was one of the fascinating creatives who presented her talented work. And I immediately started following her and, connected with her on LinkedIn and tried to, engage with her content because she's really one of a kind in this space. And I finally have the pleasure to have this session with her and hear directly from her about her amazing journey. She's done a lot of great work with different brands, and this is just the beginning. She has a lot more to bring to the world. So I'm very honored to introduce Isabel to us. And take it away, my dear. Tell us more about yourself and your story.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Nico. It's such an honor to be here and to be invited. Thank you. And thank you for the warm welcome you've given me. Hi, everyone. I'm Isabel. I own a studio in Amsterdam called Locus Solus Studio. We specialize in mixed reality, augmented reality, and anything that has to do with immersive advertising. My work started, I must say, a bit more on the artistic side, and eventually it evolved into a more commercial studio. I gathered some teammates, and now we help brands innovate, and we help them create engaging social media assets they can run campaigns with.
Amazing. This is so great. And we were going to get into a little bit more about your background. But before that, I want to thank our amazing community for being here. Gabriel, Ian, and everyone else who is tuning in. We appreciate you. Feel free to comment in the comment section. We can see it live, and we would love your engagement. So feel free to ask questions, comment on everything we're talking about. We really appreciate you. So tell us a little bit about your journey into augmented reality, how you decide to come here. And I know your studies, we were just talking about it in the backstage. You studied a very different topic, and now you are getting into this more commercially, and you're really changing the way brands are communicating and building relationship with their audience. So tell us how you got into this, what inspired you, and how you decided to start this studio.
Yes, so it was 4 years ago that I was finishing my master. As I told you before, I studied museum studies. So for those who don't know, it's how to make exhibition, how to curate them, or even just work in the education department of museums. It's a really fulfilling job, but uh, museums are institutions that are quite traditional at the moment, and I wanted to do something with new technologies. I ended up bumping into augmented reality on the web, actually on the internet. I Googled how to create AR on Instagram. And that's when I discovered that it was a free software called Spark AR at the time. Now it's called Meta Spark. Uh, that helped us creating AR for social media. It started really as a hobby for me. My first effect, I still remember, it was a representation of Frida Kahlo's painting, but with
Wow.
3D and in AR. So I was trying to mix art and new technology for museum work at the time. And that's really how I started, just taking inspiration from traditional art forms. I then found my 3D artist, which is Rashid, here in Amsterdam, and we started collaborating more and more. And recently, a marketeer joined, which is Sandra. I say hi to both of them. That really helped me expanding the business and creating brand identity, because that's super hard to do for someone with my background. From there, I realized that I needed to commercialize a bit more, that I needed to showcase my work, that I needed to reach out to brands, and that's how my journey started, and I started taking it more seriously.
Wow, amazing. And you got a note, you got seen by Meta to the point that, they brought you in their big announcement. So that's really amazing. And I know you have had a lot more accomplishments. So let's get into showcasing some of your great work, and why should people even care about this type of advertising and
Yes.
brand building. And again, I appreciate our amazing community. Thank you for being here, Chris, Gabriel, Ian, and everyone else who's tuning in. So let's get into it. Tell us more.
Yes, so I'm going to present you a case studies because I think that's the easiest way for you to understand what I do on a daily. This case study was done in collaboration with Meta. That's why you're seeing the logo in the back of the presentation, and with Sokos, which is a Finnish department store, and I will explain more about it soon. Yes. So here you can see two examples of advertisement. You have on the right the traditional forms of advertisement, and on the left what I created, which is more immersive and entertaining with AR. They are both assets that brands purchase, and one shouldn't exclude the other. This was a case study we've done for Dermageek, which was a Target skincare brand that now I think went out of production. But they did have traditional posters in the street, and they created this really fun Dermageek quiz. It was a skincare quiz that had a lot of funny elements, and for which we created the 3D mascot as well. So Facebook at the time created a study that proved that brands connect with people across multiple experiences, have up to 139 more effective awareness, consideration, and association on social media. And this was a result that came from 7,000 study aggregated from 2020 to 2021. This is also part, of course, of bigger campaigns, but I think it's important to stress how how much of an impact it can have to have social media presence for more traditional brands.
Here for a
Uh,
second.
yes.
Where can we access this type of technologies? Because I understand that Meta has these technologies, but is it something that is now accessible through Instagram, where you can see these AR filters and put it on your image and use it? Is it for the stories? Where exactly we can see an example like this?
Yes, this is really good question. You can see this example, first of all, on the filter tab of the brand. Then it can be used in stories. But most importantly, this is all content created for Reels, which is what Meta is trying to push at the moment. And the same on TikTok or in Snapchat. It is mostly for video content. It can be used on lives as well.
Nice.
It can be used for ads. So let's say you want to use a video of you with AR and push it as a social media ad. That's also possible. And it can redirect to the AR experience with an inbound link.
Amazing.
So yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely seen it on the Snapchat, but not as frequently on Instagram or Facebook. So it's good to know. So we have to look for it on the Reels or Stories. That's where we can find it. Yeah, I've actually seen it on the Stories. But yeah, let's continue. I appreciate you clarifying, so we all know where to find them and where to use them.
That's a really good point, since not everyone knows. So here I have some examples of what you just were talking about. So this is an ad that we created in collaboration with Marc Jacobs. What we have done was creating the filter, the augmented reality experience, and then they gave the assignment to the influencer to create content with the clothes they shipped in collaboration as well with Meta, that I must say that. So this was a whole campaign where the clothes were combined with the AR experience. You can see here she's switching from normal camera feed to the AR feed. So
Mm.
here you have AR makeup with the necklace that's also digital. And then you have an AR background as well after. So she's advertising both the clothes and the AR effect at the same time in Reels. This is another example of a creator that got the assignment from Sokos to test the different digital makeup looks and to pair an outfit with it. So this is
Wow.
also real content, and this can be pushed as well as paid advertisement, sorry. So you see that the effect is integrated into the content. It doesn't exist on its own. It needs to be integrated into a bigger campaign.
So this makeup on her is not real. That's
No,
all the filter.
yes,
Beautiful.
all the makeup is digital. Yes.
Wow. And it looks so real. So great job.
Thank you. Yes, it looks real. I must say that the makeup was designed by Annie Muka, which is their makeup artist, and I just
Mhm.
recreated it virtually. But yeah, I'm happy that it looks realistic.
Wow. Yeah, it's perfect. Wow. And what was the result of these campaigns?
Yes, we found out that 74% of users reported purchasing within days of seeing the content of Meta technologies. So I think this content refers mostly to this real content that was showcased on Meta platforms. But yes, it proves that it inspires people to purchase the advertised products. In this case, it was the bag and the jumper from the monogram collection of Marc Jacobs. And for Sokos, it was their makeup products. If you tap on the little icon, I don't know if it's visible, there's a little circle, yes, here under our
Mhm.
face. You can open the shopping list and check which products were used for each makeup look.
Wow. Yeah, tagging the product is also very important. And I want to get to the challenges later, but um, I know matching the colors and tones of these things is not easy. So let's talk about that after. But yeah, I know
Yeah.
there's so many challenges around that. Cool. Let's move on to the next slide.
Yes, so I always have this problem with brands. I don't know if the audience can relate. So how they ask me, how do we merge the physical and the digital? Because of course the digital makeup exists on its own, but there also needs to be something physical, maybe an event or an in-store activation that can drive people to use the digital experience. So here I have some business opportunities that brands can take inspiration from. This is a photo booth that my friends at Face Me did for Fendi. I say hi to them, to Dima. It's a really great agency. So they created this photo booth with an AR experience overlaid where people could take home a picture of them with the AR glasses. Then this is Isabel Udo, another great AR creator that created this digital clothing for Calvin Klein. So when you purchase the T-shirt, you can scan the QR code on the label and unlock a digital experience. Oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't
No.
have clicked. Then yes, there is this e-commerce integration of Prada in collaboration with Snapchat, where you can try different bags using the 3D body tracker functionality. This is immersive advertising example. If you want to have iPads in store with your filter or AR experience embedded, you can do that. This is also an example from Face Me. I find this to be really inspiring how we can in-store activations. And then we have social e-commerce, which is what I've shown up until now, where you can try from the comfort of your home makeup looks or clothes or anything else. But it's not that in your face as the e-commerce integration where you have a shop now button that directs you to the brand's shop. I hope that's clear, the difference between these two. And social commerce is a wider word let's say, to integrate a whole lot of social media assets that are part of an advertising campaign.
So basically, these are storytelling tools and mechanisms. So sometimes you are at the point of purchase. Sometimes you're just building the relationship and telling the story. So sometimes you're just guiding them through the options. So these are just like different elements and tools we can use along the way, depending on what the goals are. Correct?
Yes, yes, correct. So you can have a campaign and then you have to think, okay, which of these opportunities, these immersive opportunities would fit my storytelling, would fit my campaign? How can I bring an immersive advertising experience to my audience, and what fits me the most? I think Calvin Klein here did something really smart, because having clothes that can be tracked and that you can sell, it's actually where I see a lot of brands moving towards nowadays.
Yeah, and especially with NFC chips, so QR code existed for a long time, but now with NFC chips being more integrated into the items, you can immediately tap and purchase. So there's
Yes.
so many opportunities, and then potentially the person who is wearing it could get an affiliate fee, like they're promoting it on social media, they're promoting it in real life. So there are
Yeah.
tons of opportunities on that front. And can you share a little bit more about the first one? You went kind of quick. I missed what was
Oh,
the
sorry. Yes, this is a photo booth for Fendi. So a physical experience, physical photo booth where you can take a picture home. The picture is printed, but it has an AR overlay. So you see the glasses, the digital glasses applied to your picture as well.
got it?
Of course, you see yourself in the screen, a real time feed, video feed, but you can take something physical home with you, and that's really amazing, since we there is a perfect combination between the digital experience and the physical aspect of it.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Awesome. Let's
Yes, I
go to
hope
the
this one is clear, because it's also an advertising video that Face Me did, but it's mostly focused on this portion of the video where you see the model trying the AR experience with the iPad in store. I find it really beautiful.
And I think what we have in Sephora is kind of similar, right? In Sephora stores, we have had for a while in collaboration, I think, with Perfect Corp. They've been doing different AR demonstration of products and stuff. But this Face Me seems to be a lot more exciting with more components and engaging. So similar stuff, but just different integrations. Awesome.
Yes.
Cool. Let's go to the next.
Yes, so I wanted to get now more in depth about the case study, because I can then show also some data, which is what people are interested in as well. So a little bit of background regarding this project. I partnered with Meta and the Sokos, a Finnish department store. You can compare Sokos maybe to I don't know in America what you guys have. It's a retailer, maybe Target. It
Like
retails other.
Nordstrom, Macy's.
Yes, yes, exactly. So they distribute other brands. They have a big range of prices, from cheaper products to really high-end products. We try to create 5 makeup looks that people can try on virtually. And this stems from their core mission, which is find your style. They researched that every person has 1 to 2 makeup looks that they stick to throughout their whole life. And their challenge was, okay, we're going to help our audience finding their style by letting them try different makeup looks digitally and help the purchase intent this way.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, I know this problem by heart. My first the startup was actually in the beauty tech space, so I know this world very well. And yes, makeup is very personal. And if you haven't kind of assured that this something that's going to look good on you, it's hard to convince people to want to even try different colors, different products. So this is a very quick and easy way to give them some perspective.
Yes, and I want to stress that we found a really quick and interactive way to switch between products, which is with this hand swipe motion.
Wow.
Um, so that made it really quick and intuitive for people to understand what they have to do. And if they want to open the shopping list, they have to simply tap on the screen. And that's so I found out that having a really simple UI UX for AR works magic, because before I used to had a lot of buttons, a lot of interactions, but simplicity is the key if you want people to use it quite often.
Exactly, and intuitive. Yeah, totally.
Yes.
So tell us about
Um,
the result.
yes. So this is my. I have to make a little parenthesis here, open a little parenthesis. So these we made 4 of these campaigns. That's why you see Find the Look 1 and Find the Look 2, because they're 2 separate campaigns. One is for Christmas and the other was for the season that came right after, for Easter. Um, that's why you see 2 different indexes and 2 different results. But I
Mhm.
can tell you that now we're on the 4th experience, and these numbers are rising and increasing way more. So when we started last year, we had plus 8% sales increase compared to 2021 in brick and mortar. And we have 11.1% total sale increase only for the beauty category if we talk about the Christmas period. Then with Find Your Look 2, we saw a plus 30% increase in sales compared to the previous filter and compared to the selected makeup products that we had in the effect only. And then we have 87.8% increase in online sales. This is a big target for them because they didn't have a Gen Z uh, customer base yet. So for Gen Z, they mean people between 18 and 24. And they managed to attract them way more by doing a social media campaign and by having the AR experience. And I want to stress that these results are not only specific to the filter, but they're specific to the whole campaign, which I will show soon. But really important to remember, and I cannot stress it enough, you have to integrate it into a bigger campaign. You cannot purchase the effect and leave it there on your social media profile and expect it to do wonders. That's not how it works. You have to think of a campaign around the AR, or that includes the AR. Yeah,
Yeah, it's about the storytelling, and this is just a tool to tell parts of the story. And
right.
if you think that by just, like people or brands that did activations in metaverse, but there was no story, it was just like we did something. That is not how it works. You have to tell a specific story. It has to resonate with your brand narrative. It has to align with your audience needs and wants. So, like, there are tons of components that go into it, and this is just a very powerful tool that they can incorporate.
Yes, you put it beautifully, Nico. It's exactly how it is. And I see, unfortunately, a lot of brands that purchase AR and then they look at the results and they're like, oh, it did nothing for me. Well, maybe because it was not integrated into any campaign. Maybe you put paid ads behind it, but that's not enough. People won't only look at the paid advertisement, they also want organic um, assets. So I will show that in a second.
Mhm.
Yes, so these are what I was talking about, the paid advertisement, because the company also put some paid ads behind this project.
Mhm.
And the results that they had were more precise because Meta managed to make a study out of this. We had the 96.4 decrease in cost per acquisition. We had plus 3.7 points gained in compare awareness, and we have a 1.3 points increase in purchase intent. Let me explain this real quickly. So the campaign awareness is calculated on the regional benchmark or vertical benchmark. So basically, if I understand correctly, it is the area where that they measured, which in this case it would be Finland. And they measured, okay, so how many people saw this campaign? They ask random people in the area online with surveys, um, have you seen this Socos campaign in the
No,
last week or the last month? Yes
no.
or no? And based on these results, they managed to calculate how much comparing awareness they received. And the purchase intent is of course, how much actually how many products were sold in that specific campaign, and the cost per acquisition. So how much did they pay to have this campaign, and how much did they get in return? If we
Yes.
want to put it really simply.
Very cool. Thank you for clarifying. And I think you said 96, but it's 69, and I see it on the screen, so it's good. But yeah, really cool results, because at the end of the day, brands need to see ROI.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
Yes, I'm sorry. I think I froze. Did you see me
Yeah,
frozen?
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the internet connection is
Yes. Okay,
lagging.
I'm back. I'm back, guys. So the creative idea, I went a bit through it, but I just want to give a huge thanks to Annie Muka, who's the makeup artist that designed all these beautiful makeup looks. She just sends me a picture of her with the makeup look and a tutorial of her creating it, and then I have to kind of match the textures and the colors in AR, which is super fun.
I
These are
really want
some of
to
the products.
understand your design process, but we can get into it after. I'm sure this is very complicated and special. So let's go.
Yes, I will show a bit now how it works. I
Yeah.
hope this is clear. If there are some questions, I'm going to address them after. So she sends a picture of herself with the makeup look, which is done in usually studio lights. And then she sends a video tutorial of her step by step creating the makeup look. What I do is I use this 3D face in Metaspark, which, by the way, is a free software, so everyone can use it. And this face is then overlaid onto the user's face using head tracking, face tracking. So there are points that are tracked onto our face, and the 3D face mesh is morphed and overlaid onto our real face, which accounts for a lot of the accuracy that we have. But it also accounts for some deformations that happen with the makeup textures. So making eyeliner, for example, it's quite hard because everyone has a different space between the eyebrow and the eyelid. And these face mesh deforms. So you need to account for these deformations and make sure that the textures appear straight on a curved surface. This is a bit of the difficulty that you have. But the plus is that you can create really nice shimmers, glitters. You can use lights, and the reflections appear way more intense than what they are in real life. So they look more beautiful eventually.
Wow. Amazing. So the accuracy of the outcome depends on the quality of face tracking and morphing everything to the face, which comes from providers of the SDK like Meta or Snap or others,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes. The
Then
accuracy
all
depends
you're
of the
doing,
tracking.
yeah. And then as
Yeah.
a designer or creator, what you're doing is kind of using that tool that is giving you the canvas, and then you are putting different components and trying to match it to this artist's work, correct?
Absolutely, yes. So the AR tracking is from the provider. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I cannot change the accuracy of the tracker myself. But what I can do is I can go around the problem and try to morph the textures to make it the eyeliner look straight, or use a little bit of tricks when I design to make things look a certain way. Yeah.
Oh,
So just
amazing.
knowing the program is important. Like the fact that you've used it for years makes you understand how to tackle certain issues.
And has there been like anytime you want to make a texture but you couldn't find a component to make that, or almost everything you want is available, or you know how to make it?
Yeah, so you can draw the textures in Photoshop. So
Oh,
that's available for everyone. But then you have to go into the program and you have to tweak the settings and the parameters and the metallicness to make it look a certain way.
okay. So it,
And you have
it
to set
starts
up
with
lights.
it starts with a traditional type of graphic design and then bringing it into these new tools.
Yes, and you have to set up lights as well. You have to set up the reflections. And if you want some more advanced shaders, you have to code the shaders in the program.
Wow. Cool. And while we're at this topic, can you tell us some of the challenges you faced during this process, like for the design and putting this together?
Yes, so as you can see, the gems that she has on her eyes and the sparkles, these were really challenging. I was thinking, oh, should I make them in 3D? Should I keep them flat? Because as you can imagine, if you draw them, they will expand once you raise your eyebrows, and you don't want that because that doesn't happen in real life. So I was thinking, oh my god, how can I fix this problem? And eventually I came up with a mix between 3D glitters and the 2D glitters. I made like a bit of a mess, a lot of experimentation, and I ended up having an okay result. And then I put a glow shader on top of everything, so it masks a bit of the things I've done underneath, and it gives that glowy vibe that we have with light reflections in real life.
Wow, that's a whole level of different arts. I mean, I know with makeup, you kind of have to do similar thing to, it's all about lighting. At the end of the day, these are all about lighting and how it reflects on different products that you're using. And now you're just using different tools to tell that same story. So that's beautiful, amazing. How long typically it takes you from start to finish of a project like this?
Well, this we go back and forth with the makeup artist a lot. Let's say if I was alone, I could create this in 3 4 days. Um,
Mhm.
but as because I go a lot back and forth with her, I just can take a longer amount of time. And then there is the Socos team that approves the products and the looks as well. So we usually, I think it's a month and a half of work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
collaboration and everything.
Hmm.
And are you incorporate like are you collaborating with other 3D artists along the way, or is it you just using Meta's software and um, Photoshop and all those other small tools that you mentioned?
Yes, the 3D artist in our studio creates the products or glitters or gems if I need some three-dimensional assets. And it's mostly done in either Blender or ZBrush.
Amazing. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I think we talk about all the outcomes and results. It's good to kind of get a perspective of like what it takes to make these beauties. And I appreciate you sharing that. It's definitely a lot of hard work and craft that goes into it. Thank you.
No, thank you for pointing that out. I think, yeah, people don't really talk about the process a lot because it's kind of tedious as well. Going back and forth adjusting an eyeliner shape for hours and hours is not super fun, but I'm when I get it right, it's really a fulfilling result. So
Amazing.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on.
Yes. So let me see what's next. Okay, that's I wanted to talk about this. So I was hinting at the fact that this was part of a bigger campaign, and the campaign is called the Box of Emotion. It's a really cool concept because they create the makeup first in real life, and then they compare it to the AR version, and they say, "Oh, how close was it to what I've made?" And they also provide you a step-by-step tutorial of how you can recreate the AR look in real life. So it goes both ways. And it's just really
Wow,
fun for
they're really sorry, they're stress testing your artwork,
yes,
testing it with
yes,
the original. Wow, that's amazing. And it
yes.
looks
I love
pretty
this
good.
concept. Yes, you can see here the AR at the top and her at the bottom. Let me pause this. Yes, so
Wow.
then people can see how accurate it was actually, like my creation and what I've made with the filter.
I think it would be more fair if they have the same lighting too. It seems like the lighting is a little bit different in both, but
Yes,
yeah.
it's definitely darker. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like the AR version better in some ways. It's bolder, you know. Depends like what the purpose of this is, but you know, a lot of times, like we're on a Zoom call or doing a story or something, you may not want to do a full face makeup and then have to remove it and do all of that. So just use the filter, and these are so beautiful.
Yes, and this one was also another campaign asset where she paired bags and outfits to each digital makeup look.
Wow, amazing.
Yes. I think they did a really great job with creating all these campaign assets. Takes a lot of time to shoot, of course, and put it together, so it's a big production.
Awesome, awesome.
These are some of the ads that I wanted to showcase. So maybe people were wondering, how do the ads look like? That's how they look like on Facebook and on Instagram. And then you have this try in camera call to action,
Mm.
or you
So
have the shop now.
the filter could be available as you know, a tool within the stories or on Snapchat or anything like that, but also they will have ads showing you the end results and also giving you the link to try it. Very cool. That makes total
Yes,
sense.
this is specific to meta platforms, though.
Mhm.
This type of layout, yes.
Yes, yes. But I was just saying, like the idea of filters, it's about, you know, you can use it when you're content creating, or you can use it when you are getting to know more about a brand or a product. And that's the virtual try-on that, you know, I've spoken about on this show several times. It's such an important element of e-commerce. If we
Hmm.
don't try a product, it's really hard to build that emotional attachment to it, or you know, even like validate the idea of like this is going to work for me. So by trying it on, you know, we kind of confirm that, you know, not only it's beautiful on this model, but also it could be great for me, and then that leads to more conversion, less returns, and so on.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. These are some other assets, and I wanted to showcase that if you access the tag Solco's Beauty Try On, you can see all the reels that have been created with makeup look. And as well, Solco's Beauty Try On for the previous season, you see the effects and the reels for that campaign.
Wow, beautiful. I want to pause here and thank our amazing community for engaging. And I see all of your great comments and questions. We'll get to them very soon. I just don't want to like distract Isabel from her story. And then as soon as you know we get to a spot where we can pause, we'll get to your questions. But thank you so much for contributing and engaging with us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, yes. So now we switch topic a bit. It's always in the same realm of digital advertising. But Nico, of course, had the great idea of also introducing Fo to the presentation. I guess a lot of you are familiar with digital out of home or fake out of home advertisement. You could call it maybe a fake AR in a sense, because here with CGI, we have more tools, we have a better accuracy. Shaders are, of course, running better when it's not real time. We can create way more accurate glass reflections. And of course, these things render for days, so you cannot compare to the visual quality that you have in real time and on the phone. I think it's always nice to integrate the AR plus the CGI, so you have a more interactive experience for the user and a more visually pleasing experience for the campaign visuals. Here you can see some examples that we have created. These first two are from our studio. This was one we created for Soko's building in Helsinki to advertise their Scandi makeup launch. It's a beauty brand that they are going to resell, mostly focused on skincare. So we created these balls that resemble a candy machine, but the candy machine is the Sokos building.
Wow.
Yeah, this was really fun to make. And this is not just I just wanted to stress it. This is I don't know the studio that has created this beautiful ad, but it's for Jacques Mousse. And I find
Mhm.
it really interesting how they used the building and they covered it. Um, they filled it with cherries that then overflow from the door.
Wow. I want to pause here because you just brought up a really good point, which I didn't know. So you mentioned the rendering of these, the level of quality that we're seeing here is because of the great rendering and processing that these visuals had. So if so, these CGI they're not necessarily for us to go to that area, to that neighborhood, and pull up our phone and test it. It's more something that they created off of the real world images or videos, and then they use it to promote it on social media, and kind of give the people the feeling that this is really happening in real world. Is that right?
That this is correct, absolutely. You couldn't say it better. Uh, I think you can make this in AR to a certain extent with geolocation technologies available in Lens Studio for Snapchat. They also have landmarker templates where you can attach 3D objects to certain landmarks, the most famous that they selected around the world. But this is really specific to CGI production. So it is fake. It is recreated. It gives a fake idea that someone is past there, it was filming it, and something crazy happened. But no, this is not interactive at all, which is the downside of it. But the gain is the visual quality.
Amazing. And I've seen the campaigns on social media where people are like, well, I'm just going to jump go there right now and see what's happening. But, a lot of times this is just a campaign. And yes, until now, I thought, you could potentially have the AR filter and see it when you go there. But it's good to know it's not at the level of quality if it's created as what we see here. So, thank you for communicating and sharing that. And this is definitely a very powerful tool that we've seen a lot of fashion brands using it. And even beyond fashion brands, but I think it was Barbie movie. They promoted it with, in Dubai with a huge Barbie. So there are so many use cases of, again, storytelling, but tying it into what's familiar for people. Sometimes what's familiar is ourself, face and body. Sometimes it's our outdoor environments. So it's all about, how can you tie it to something familiar, so they can remember it and tell their friends about it and, make that excitement.
Yes, and I think it really depends on for your brand what's more important. Do I want these really polished visuals, or do I want something interactive that's fun, it's engaging, or do I want both? So it really depends on your brand identity. I work with brands that also have really polished and sober aesthetics, let's say, and they try to venture into AR and they struggle because
Mm.
they don't want it to make fun. They don't want it to be gimmicky. So then folk could be an easy gateway to start doing more immersive advertising, and then they can transition slowly through AR, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that's actually a lot that, creatives say, like, brands shouldn't take themselves that seriously. They sometimes should make fun of themselves and, bring a lot more kind of excitement. And especially when we're talking about younger generation, and they would love to see that authenticity and not necessarily all the polished outcomes, but behind the scenes, what it takes to create a great visual or great ad or great product. So These are all, again, tools that we can use it for different ways of storytelling. So thank you for sharing that. Is the next topic the predictions of the future? If so, I would love to. Okay, no. So you continuing this. Before we get to the predictions, I want to pause and get to some of the questions, and then we can kind of close it with the prediction.
Yes.
Cool. Tell us more about these ones.
Yes, so this is just an example I wanted to showcase of an AR experience on the left, where you can see the flowers from Jacobs growing in real time on your camera feed, and the same ad but done with CGI, so
Mhm.
fake, where you just see this video of the perfume opening a new gateway to sensation and um, all the senses that this perfume unlocks, the daisy perfume from Marc Jacobs. So I like how they managed to combine both mediums this way.
Beautiful. I've actually seen some, I mean, Walmart's, they just had the AR campaign as well. And there are so many other AR campaigns where you can walk into an experience. So I'm sure to some extent they could create for AR as well, kind of like this walking into a whole new environment. But yeah, this is just a different way of demonstrating it. But thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. This is great and beautiful. Awesome, awesome. So let's pause here and get to some of the great questions that we have. Ian mentioned, do you have any thoughts on Coke's? A couple months back, they had a gallery. Are you familiar with that? If not, that's totally fine.
No, I'm not familiar with it. I would like to know more.
Yeah, yeah. So you guys probably can chat later about
Mhm.
that. And Ian made a great point that some of these tools are also available, on the phone level. So you don't have to like necessarily use all these SDKs we talked about, but it's about how convenient you want these tools to be for you. So that is great. And then
Great point. Yes, absolutely.
awesome. And they're sending you some flowers. And yeah, Gabriel asked about some examples, which we definitely discussed. And then next question is, will we see a complete merger of the physical and digital world? How do you envision the future? So that's the next topic we're going to get
Yes.
into. And future trends. Okay, we have a great question from Ting Ting. Could you please share how you landed your first project with a brand? How do you manage to consistently get amazing projects?
So back in the days, there was what was called the Spark Era community. It was a Facebook group. It still exists, but it's not as active as 3 years ago, where we would all publish our work in AR. It was a lot of trial and error. We were sharing a lot of uh, code. You could say we were sharing assets and textures. So we were kind of teaching each other how to get to a good level. And there I had a brand noticing me, an agency at first, and I started collaborating with this agency in the US. That was my first client. After Meta kind of noticed me, and they connected me with several brands, and other people just, I think, reached out based on my portfolio. So my advice is definitely create a nice portfolio for yourself. You can do outreach, you can send it to brands, or you can simply publish on your social media. And with the correct push and the correct circumstances, people will notice you and they will start asking for collaboration. Then it's up to you to be professional. It's up to you to keep the client. That's what I always say, because you can gain the client, you can gain the opportunity, but you need to find a way to retain it long term. You need to find a way to make sure that your employees get paid. So the client has to stay with you, has to stick with you through a long time. So that's really the key here. Make sure that they understand the value of AR and immersive advertising, and they do a long-term investment. And yeah, also personal relationships. I think with a couple of clients, I managed to install something that goes beyond work a bit and kind of like make sure that, I don't know, we are connected also on a friendship
Building
level and we
relationship.
respect each other. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about building relationships. So,
Mhm.
not just the sticking to what the ask is, getting to know them more personally and figuring out what their vision is and what challenges they're facing, how you can navigate that, all of that. But it's great to know. So, you started with joining the community, co-creating, supporting one another, and also being seen by Meta and the platform that then
Mhm.
amplified your great work. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that and great question, Ting Ting. In terms of accessibility, do you have any thoughts on the accessibility of AR?
Technology is used for good and benefits society as a whole. What role can education and collaboration play in democratizing AR? Yes, so Gabriel, I will send you a collaboration that I've done with Meta and Unit 9, which is advertising agency from London, from the UK. We created some educational experiences and use cases to show how AR can be an educational tool. It can be a tool for good. I will send them to you later, and there's a lot of projects on that.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And Casey is asking, how are AI tools helping you speed up the process of creating these experiences? What are some specific things that you think will dramatically make it easier?
Well, for makeup, I can tell you that at the moment, AI is not really helpful in that sense. I think there's no accuracy at the moment. Also, when you do image generation, you see always that the makeup is a bit weird. It looks a bit weird. And sometimes it looks also misplaced when you do text to image generation. When it comes to AR, instead, you have to create specific textures for it. And these can be hand drawn, or you can have AI to help you in a sense. But then the work of putting it on the face and adjusting it and all of that, there is no AI tool at the moment for it.
Mm,
I'm sure maybe in the future they will be, but right now is manual work in that sense. And for instead for GAN effects for generations and machine learning and all these AI models that Snapchat just launched, these are really revolutionary and they're awesome for certain use cases, such as, oh, I don't know, I want my user's hair to be curly. Before
mm,
I had to make a curly wig in 3D, and now I can use AI to curl the hair of the user, and it looks much better. So yeah, it is for certain things it's amazing, and for others you still need manual work.
wow. Yeah, generative AI is really helping with all of these creations. Thank you for the great question, Casey, and the great answer, Isabel. Next question is about best practices for developing immersive advertising. Do you have any advice in general for brands, kind of based on all these different use cases you've seen? What are some of the best practices?
Yes, so I have my best practices in the deck. One is subtle branding. We don't want people to look like walking advertisements. So the branding needs to be in the experience, but in a subtle way. You don't want to put a logo on people's forehead or they want to share it. It
Sorry,
seems
do you want to share the screen? Is that what you're referring to? Is it for what's next, or is it something you already talked about?
no. It's this is in my client decks, so I know it
Oh,
from my head.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
Yes. Um, it seems self-explanatory that you don't want to put logos everywhere, but no, for brands, it's not. They do want to do it, and they want to put their logo in any empty space of the filter. So yeah,
I've seen in the
that.
fashion shows, and it's so funny. Like, we already know these big brands. Why are you sticking your logo everywhere? But yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah. And you can be recognizable with colors, with style. You don't have to place the logo necessarily somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, one logo is okay. One logo is okay, but not more than one. And then second is use the interactivity. So the AR has to be interactive. You don't want to create something static. You can use the interactions, the face interactions, the tapping interactions, so something that people have to do in order to engage with your content. And then there is my another one that says, this is my tips, which says be entertaining and be fun. So this is an opportunity for you, even if you're a really serious and traditional brand. It's an opportunity for you to do something fun for younger people, to go viral on social media, to create trends. So don't miss this opportunity with something that's boring or that's been already done. Try to be a bit innovative.
I want to
Yeah.
double click on what you just said. If you just think about the evolution of social media content, it was the time where you could just create a brand page and put text in a colorful background and it would be boring, and it would still work, it will bring some
Yeah.
awareness, but now in this day and age you cannot, absolutely not, do those type of content. So that's why we see a lot of UGC content being so popular. And for those of you who may not know, the UGC we hear about in gaming is different from the UGC in social media. UGC in social media means those user generated content that you basically have a talking person in whatever background that they have, and they talk about the product and talk about the brand. So it's all has shifted from just the brand trying to like educate and inform in a very boring direct way to something that is actually the story is being told from the perspective of another person like us, telling their own personal experience. And a lot of times it may not be really their personal experience, which we have seen from celebrities and mega influencers for a while. They don't use every single product they talk about. They're just doing a partnership. And so now that has been more democratized. So we're seeing micro influencers, nano influencers, people who most of their influences are their friends and family. They are telling the stories from their own personal perspective, and
Yes.
that's what resonates a lot more. So I appreciate you mentioning that, because
Yes.
entertainment and focusing on something new and different is what actually works these days.
Yes, and I want to stress that augmented reality is not just the filter that deforms your face that goes viral on social media that everyone uses in the stories. I'm not referring to that with my work, and I don't do that type of work. It's mostly how you can create interactive commercial content. Which, when it comes to makeup, yes, it might involve also having a little bit of a retouched face, but it's not the point of it. The point is not to make people look different or have a different perception of themselves.
Totally.
Yeah.
We're kind of running out of time, so I want to jump into your predictions and then get into what's next for you. So tell us more. What do you see happening in this space? We kind of talked about the past and the present. What's in the future?
Yes, so I made a little bit of predictions of things that I also see already happening. So it's not really groundbreaking, but I think these will be more and more present in the future. So we will have a lot of in-store VTO. VTO stands for virtual try-on. It can be makeup or clothing or sneakers, anything from actually physical garments to experiences such as, I don't know, wings or 3D embellishments that we could have on our body. And that might relate to the brand in that moment. So definitely in-store experiences, I see this becoming a trend in the future. Then I see AI-driven social media content becoming way more popular. I'm also referring to AI generated people and or AI generated content, for example, the UCG you mentioned, or just simple videos of products that become ad, and they've been totally AI generated. Then I see AR glasses, hopefully in the future, becoming a thing with Meta Ray-Ban collaboration, or I don't know if it will come on the Apple side, but all these companies are definitely working on it. And I know that they will push out all their resources to make sure that we can have this in the near future. And the AR glasses will also come with a lot of AI implementations in our daily life. So I don't know, we can think in the future that we will cook a recipe, and we will have our AI glasses helping us with a visual overlay, picking the right amount of flour for the recipe, and so on.
Yeah, like Apple
Uh,
Vision. Yeah,
yes, yes, exactly. But in a
mhm.
more compact and
Yeah,
user
user
friendly
friendly.
way.
Totally.
Then social media's marketplace, this is already happening, but I see this becoming more and more of a trend where people in the even live streams on TikTok, they showcase products. And I don't know, Nifko, if you remember back in the days in Italy, we used to have these TV shows where people would advertise products, just the whole channels just for that. My grandma used to be glued on the screen, and this is becoming, I think, the new television, but just on social media live.
Yes.
And yeah, then digital garments plus jewelry. This is something I want to get into as well. So 3D printing objects, creating objects or garments that can augment jewelry that has a specific design that's more futuristic and in line with I don't know, just our augmented reality style. This is Ines Alpha and Studio Halia together creating this beautiful piece. So I see this happening more and more often, and I hope this becomes a trend. And I will also try to put my effort into creating some digital garments or I don't know, clothes that can be modified with an augmented reality layer. You can change colors and texture and so on. Yes, so I'm curious, what do you think?
Okay, I'm back.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay,
My
okay, no
connection
worries.
dropped. I don't know what happened. But I appreciate you. I didn't hear the last part, so I appreciate you mentioning all of the predictions. Before we close, I would love to hear from you, kind of like what's next for you. How can our community support you? Where they can find you? All of that.
Yes, so first of all, thank you. You've been an amazing host. It's like it feels like a
Thank you.
natural conversation, so thank you. Um, you guys can support me on Instagram. It's called locussolus.ams. So the name of my studio dot Amsterdam. I on LinkedIn you can follow me, Isabel Palumbo. And we also have a website, which I'm making again, by the way, which is www at locussolus.studio. But I prefer LinkedIn and Instagram so we can chat easily. And if you want to send me an email, it's info at locussolus.studio. Thank you so much, everyone. I think Nico is having some connection problems. So thank you everyone for joining, for asking me questions. And if you want to chat more, you can text me on LinkedIn. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.